Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction and entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we return to you on this Sunday as we record this live, Sunday the 16th.
Yes, May 16th.
May 16th. It is a big, big day around here at Haunt Weekly HQ. It's perhaps one of the biggest days of the year.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
It is.
It is Ellie's birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ellie. And because cosmic coincidences are messed up, it is also our triad anniversary.
Yes.
So it's two big holidays in one. That's right, it's 2-for-1 sale here. So yeah, we are celebrating both our anniversary and Ellie's birthday all in one.
Mm-hmm.
So happy birthday, Ellie. Happy anniversary to all of us.
Yes.
So to speak. But yes, indeed, I appreciate you spending a part of that day with us to listen to us and check us out. So do take a moment, if you have not done so already, check us out at hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, youtube.com/hauntweekly is the YouTube channel. All the episodes are available there for easy access. It's great. You missed an episode, it fell off your iPod, boom, get it out of YouTube. Easy peasy. And as always, you can find us wherever fine our podcasts are distributed. Got Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, etc., etc., etc. Also Spotify. And you can join us at Sundays, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Facebook.com/HauntWeekly. We do these podcasts live. You can be part of the chat. You can be part of the show. Such as this show.
Yeah.
But yes, you can be a part of it. We love interacting with our chat live on this podcast.
Well, and speaking about live, I mean, right now we are building the Haunted Mansion Lego set.
Yes, indeed.
And we have completed 3 more bags since last week.
That's a grand total of 5 bags.
Yes.
Dora the Explorer, everyone. Cinco!
Thank you. Now it's Dora. But yes, so the first level looks to be fairly complete,
Yeah.
and we've got gears in place.
Yeah,
and
I'm going to try to spin this around for the camera real fast.
Oh, okay.
If I can. Because this thing, I mean, you can see how like we're turning things now. It's really, really cool. Like, I don't want it too much just for the webcam.
Right.
But, man, this thing is false.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the back side of it.
And close it together.
And, oh, yeah, and then it closes together like this.
Yes.
So it is false. It is great. and I think Japes was the one that said it's not the best build, but it is one of the best displays.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see why he said that at this juncture already. Because it is a bear to build. I mean, admittedly, I've not done Lego this size before, but a lot of the instructions are confusing, and I still think we fucked something up with the gears. I just don't know what yet. I'm convinced we messed something up.
Yeah.
But it does look incredible.
Yes, and it's a haunted house that sells tickets and is accessible.
Yeah, handicap
yes.
accessible. Wheelchair ramp accessible. In fact, it has a wheelchair ramp in the front of it, we noticed.
Yes.
Where the stairs are. And, of course, one of the customers is in a wheelchair holding a ticket. It's great. It's
yes.
awesome. So it's very, very cool stuff. Lego did a great job with this. So this is bag 5. We do about a bag an hour, maybe a little bit longer than an hour.
Yeah.
We're doing it slow because there's 3 of us and we're passing it around, each taking a step or 2.
Yeah.
And that slows it down.
Taking our time.
I know if just one of us sat down and did it, it'd probably be quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But this way, it's a communal thing. We're relationship building. It's great.
Yeah.
So we're doing that. And we're taking our sweet time with it. We're not in a rush, and this way we get to show you progress week after week.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, as I mentioned earlier, happy birthday to the Haunt Weekly household.
Yes.
Very, very, very happy. It's been an amazing weekend. I need to go back to work so I can have a vacation for my weekend.
I did work yesterday, so I need a vacation from work also.
Wow.
So, yes.
Wow. But
Graduation season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, which does mean for me, my business will be slowing down.
Right.
But yours
Yeah,
is...
your day job.
Yeah, my day job's going to be slowing down. But anyways, neither here nor there.
Nope.
So first off, before we jump into today's topic, PR for Haunters, we have the question of the week, the question for the audience. The question is this: what is you or your haunt's best media/PR success story?
Right.
I want to hear about things that went crazy right for you guys.
Exactly. We
And I
want
know
some
what
positive stories.
Yeah, I want to hear some positive stories, man. I know what I think ours is.
Yeah.
That's the interview with WWL.
Okay.
Because they came here, they interviewed us, and they filmed like a 2-minute segment on us.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a short segment.
Right.
And then apparently it was put on repeat
Yeah.
after the station went off air.
Yeah.
So apparently you could have spent, like, imagine this podcast, but 2 minutes long and on repeat for hours.
Oh, actors know exactly what that's like. Whenever, because that is one thing you've got to keep in mind when building a haunt is how long somebody in that space is going to have to listen to that music or that sound effect or whatever over and over and over.
Yeah, there is a reason I work to try and make as many... either, if anything's on a loop in our haunt, it's at least an hour loop. I try to make it an hour loop.
Yeah.
Like the CD I did of messed up doo-wop music was over an hour. But if it's a short loop, I try to have it times that I know there's a customer in the room.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is, actors set off with those tripwires just as well as customers do.
Yeah. Yes. They are people. As we have discussed before,
They're
actors
humans.
are people.
So they do set it off, and so they do get exposed to it more than necessary. But see, the idea I had was like if a character, a customer's in the room, they're not going to be as focused on the sound effect.
Yeah.
They'll be busy doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know, but yeah. So yeah, I guess they do know what that's like. So, what is you or your haunt's best media/PR success story? Dying to find out.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you on the best one for us. Also because the next day after it aired, I went into a local grocery store to get coolers to put the drinks in for our actors, and I could not reach it because it was all the way up on the top shelf.
Yeah, and these are the little cheap, like $3 coolers. We're just getting some temporary coolers for actors to tuck away.
Yeah, exactly. I could barely not reach it, and a guy came over and said, "Hey, look, I love what you're doing. Here, let me get that for you." It's like, all right, cool.
And you weren't wearing the Bernie Baxter merch?
No,
you weren't
no.
wearing anything like that?
No.
So it was just awesome. But yeah, no. That one really came through. And this is something, PR is something we do really well.
Mm-hmm.
We've done it very successfully for the entire 15-year run. And basically, by now, I think every single major media outlet, every TV station, and every newspaper, both free, daily, whatever, has done some kind of write-up on us.
Yeah.
I think we've been in everything about once. We've not done much radio, but I'm thinking about pivoting to put more focus on radio, especially local radio news.
Okay.
That's something I want to, and we're going to talk more about that down the line, because that's something we haven't done, because I kind of underestimated the value of radio, but I think I'm coming around to its potential here.
No.
So it's worth the effort. But yeah, pretty much every outlet in the city has done at least something on us. It's been great.
Mm-hmm.
We have clippings all over our walls of the newspapers and the magazines.
Right.
We were on the cover of the free edition of the Times-Picayune once.
Yes.
That was kind of frightening.
It was fun.
It was kind of frightening and fun because this is the paper they throw for free.
Yeah.
In people's yards, and it's called the good newspaper because literally they have a rule that no bad or sad news goes in there.
Right.
No serious news. So it's all feel-good stories and features and stuff. But a lot of people read I don't know who the fuck reads a newspaper they picked up in their driveway randomly.
Well, we do in September and October.
That's true. We do. But still, the point being of the matter is, we've been on the front page of that. We've had a lot of success. And I would say all of our growth, or nearly all of it, has been due to media attention with flyers.
Yeah.
The only reasons I hear people found us were they saw us on television station, what? Or read about us in what newspaper, or they picked up one of our flyers.
Yeah.
The Facebook ads I put out, even though I do a small budget every year of Facebook ads, never had anyone say they saw us there.
Yeah. Yeah, but the events do get some response and interaction.
I'm still
so
keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's just no one thinks of that as the place they found out about us, the way to maintain contact, not necessarily get that first contact.
Yeah.
It's more along those lines.
Yeah. Your experience may vary.
Yeah, your experience may vary, obviously, but for us, the social media advertising is more about building and growing an already existing relationship than it is reaching new people.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: we do all this PR stuff, but we put really almost no effort into it.
Yeah.
I look at the amount of time I spend on PR every year. It's nothing compared to. It'll take us longer to paint this room than
Yeah.
it will for me to do all the PR for the haunt. You know,
Very true.
because we've got this. We got a system down. We got it well, and basically, I want to teach everyone else how to do roughly what we do.
Yes.
It works. I'll say this: PR is amazing, especially if you are a home haunter or an upstart haunt or a charity haunt. Those are the best ways. But pro haunts can get in on this too.
Yeah.
And should. Absolutely, this is for
No
everyone.
reason not to.
Mostly because it's pretty much free. There's literally no reason not to. All right. So, real fast, what is public relations?
Mm-hmm.
The official definition, according to Oxford Dictionary, is the professional maintenance of a favorable public image by a company or their organization, and it goes on for a ways after that. But basically, it's about managing the release of information to the public to keep your presence favorable in other people's minds, in the public's minds. Now, that actually can include pretty much anything that is non-advertising. There's a difference between PR and advertising.
Right.
Advertising is views and eyeballs you pay for directly.
Mm-hmm.
You leave out a flyer, you paid X amount for that flyer, someone to take it.
Right.
You paid for that. You put a TV ad out, you have paid for X number of views on that. You put a newspaper out, you're expecting X number of reads.
The social media ads that you were just talking about.
Exactly. You're paying for read and access an audience. This is unpaid access to the audience. You're wanting people to interact with you in a more organic way. And this includes organic social media.
Right.
Your Facebook page, your Twitter account, your Instagram, all that is part of your PR
Your
strategy.
TikTok.
Yeah, your TikTok. All part of it. Any communication you have with the media, like we just discussed, working with TV stations, radio stations, etc., part of PR. Your web presence.
Mm-hmm.
All of that ties in. And I think that's important to remember because we're going to be focusing on communication with the media today.
Right.
We've done other things about social media. We've done other things about websites and so forth.
Yeah.
We're focusing on the piece of the puzzle we haven't discussed, which is communication with the medium. But it's important to note that your PR message needs to be the same across all platforms, including your communication with the media. Everything has to be on point.
Exactly. I believe that we talked about branding at one point. Yeah. I should look up that one. Because that's what it is. It's building your brand.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what a brand is. It's the same message, same feelings, same big ideas across multiple platforms. If your website, your YouTube, your press releases, your flyers, your ads all say the same thing, that's building a brand.
Yep, and that was episode 83 for those of you who want to go back and listen to it.
Wow, that was a long time ago. Man,
yes, it was.
So yeah, basically, we're going to be focusing on communication with the media today, but what most people think of when they think of PR, even though it's really only a tiny fraction of it. But we're going to discuss how to get media coverage and also give some general advice for handling the media, including when maybe the coverage isn't so nice.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. We've got a lot to go through in this episode. But I'm actually really excited about this one. I've been eager for this one ever since we came up with the idea.
Yeah.
All right. So how to get media attention for your home. The first step is quite simple, actually. If you haven't done this already, you probably should have, but the best day to plant a tree was 30 years ago. The second best day is today.
Exactly.
So get all the contact info you can for all of your local TV stations, radio stations, newspapers, especially those free weekly ones or free monthly ones you see out there.
Right.
Those because that's one of those things that's like universal. I've traveled all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Free weekly newspapers exist in every culture, I think. I've just concluded that's a thing.
Yeah, they're all in our walls.
Yeah.
The free papers from all over.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like in Columbia, South Carolina had two, and it's not that big of a town.
Right.
It didn't warrant having two at all. It didn't warrant having one, but it had two. So you can find one of those free weeklies, and they're great for this. Mm-hmm. But also, any local websites of import, if you've got community groups and so forth that are
right,
very important.
Yeah, and there's a lot of calendars online too, especially for Halloween. There's a New Orleans Halloween calendar. I know that I'm looking right now for my job at summer camp calendars and mom groups so that I can promote something for work out there.
Yeah.
So you are able to find those just about anywhere. Just look for Halloween events in your city.
If there is an event calendar there, you want to be in it.
Exactly.
You want to be in it. You want to be on it. You want to have a presence there, and it's very, very important. Now, when you're gathering this information, get the email, phone number, and if possible, contact names. The phone numbers are kind of important. We're going to get into this for just a second. But with those phone numbers, go ahead and add them to your phone.
Yeah.
That way you'll know who they are if they call you.
Yeah, so if you're like me and don't answer calls from strangers, you'll actually pick up.
Yeah, we'll get into
important.
We'll get into that in just a second. But yeah, email, phone, and if possible, contact names. Place that information in a file. If you have Gmail or Outlook or something, you may be able to set up a sender list and get that handy. But get it into a file and get it in place so you can contact them whenever you need or want to get the media attention for something going on at your haunt.
Yeah.
Now, the question everyone asks, and to be clear about this, my background here is I actually have a degree in advertising
Right.
in the journalism and mass communications, but PR was a big part of what we learned as that. Because the PR school and the advertising school share a roof and share a lot of, or at least they did, I don't know if they're still doing it, but they share a lot of teachers, a lot of resources, and a lot of classes overlap. So I sat through way more PR classes than I really should have.
But it's helping you now. So
the question you ask is, the question people ask though is, what do I send to them? Well, what you send to them is a press release. Now, the easiest way to learn how to write a press release isn't going to be from a podcast.
no.
I'll tell you how to do it and take some notes, definitely. But at the same time, you probably want to go look at some sample press releases.
Yeah.
You're going to want to look at a few articles about how to do this, because obviously teaching writing over a podcast format is difficult. But I can give you the big ideas. Go get the details yourself. But basically, press releases are news articles written by the subject of the article. Now, you're saying to yourself, wait, that creates a bias problem. Of course it does. That's why good ethical journalists don't just print the press release. They might take quotes from it, they might take elements from it, but they don't just print the press release because it's obviously biased.
Right. They may actually contact you.
Yes.
Yeah, I worked at one job where it was really weird because the newspaper or publication would send us the press release for my boss to sign, and he would sign it and send it back, and then they would print it.
So were you working with a PR service or something?
No. It was weird.
That's backwards.
Exactly.
You're supposed to send the press releases out.
I know.
This was
Yes.
the engineering company, right?
It is.
That place was fucking weird, though.
Yeah, I know. He didn't even read them. He just signed them and sent them back.
Yeah, but anyway, so how to write a press release.
Yeah.
Now that I've got that going in my goddamn head,
Sorry.
thanks a lot, Crystal. You fucked up the podcast.
Yeah, I'm good at that.
But anyways, like I said, press releases are basically news articles written by the subject of the article.
Yes.
So if you've ever taken a class on journalism writing, you're already most of the way there.
Ahead, leaps and bounds ahead of most people.
Yeah, at the very least. Okay. But here are the elements it definitely should have. First, be sure to include a headline. Now, really focus on this headline. Because here's the thing. They've done studies, and this is both true with newspapers, press releases, internet articles, anything. The headline gets read something like 10x more times than anything in the body.
Yes.
The most commonly read text in a news article is the headline and any image captions, followed distantly by the image captions, and then subheads and / any subheads. So yeah, really focus on this. Make sure that the headline says everything it needs to say, but does so in a short, punchy way. I don't really have a rule for how long said headline should be. There's a lot of flexibility there, I think, but I would personally try to keep it under about 10 words. So keep it short, keep it punchy, and basically make sure it says everything that you need. If someone reads just that headline, that they've got the basics, they know the most important thing you're trying to communicate.
No. Yeah, I know that I am guilty of reading headlines and then going and telling them about it. Then they ask for more information. I'm like, well, let me go find it.
Yeah. And headlines are super important. And these days, I mean, it's always been important.
Right.
Like, I gotta realize, I was in journalism school late 90s, early 2000s. So the internet was definitely a thing. And it was coming, but we were still very much focused on the print journalism world.
Right. And it wasn't clickbait era yet.
Yeah. We've entered a whole new era of the importance of headlines.
Yeah.
The goal of this is to convey all the information that's necessary and encourage them, in this case, not clickbait, it's read bait, but to read on. Now, a press release is typically between 250 and 500 words. I saw multiple people say 400 words was perfect.
That's between the two numbers you gave.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is, it should be short. It should not be longer than 500 words ever, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it should usually be around 4 to 6 paragraphs. These are going to be very short, punchy paragraphs. That's how journalism style is. Journalism style, typically speaking, you only have 1 to 2 sentences per paragraph.
Okay. I was about to ask, how many sentences should be in a paragraph?
Yeah, and then once again, it depends upon, because what you want to avoid with a press release, because you got to remember you're writing for the eye. You want to avoid large blocks of ugly gray text with no breaks.
Right.
People get tired doing that. People get fed up with doing that. And so what happens is they just quit.
Yeah.
They stop. Or they look and they see that huge block of plain gray text staring back at them, and they just decide not to read it. Not worth the headache.
Yeah.
Why should I strain my eyeballs with this? So, point being there, you want to make sure it has lots of good breaks at regular intervals so that people have points to stop and catch their breath, so to speak. So yeah, the 250 to 500 words, 4 to 6 paragraphs. Your lead, the first paragraph, should contain the 5 W's and the H. For those that aren't familiar with that, it is the who, what, when, where, why, and how. That's a lot to put in what is probably going to be one sentence. But if you can do that, what that does is it means if the person who is checking out that press release reads the headline and just the first paragraph, they got everything important.
Yeah.
They can make a decision of what they want to do with this press release. They are an educated decision even. Who, what, when, where, why, how. Answer those 6 things, and you will immediately be improving the strength of your press release. And we talked about the who, what, when, where, why, how when discussing websites. Because the same principle applies when people visit your website. They want to know who you are, why they should go there. They want answers to those 6 questions. And if you can give them the answers to those 6 questions quick and without a lot of clicking around or searching, so much the better.
Yeah.
As for the rest of the paragraphs in this press release, it should be done in what is known as an inverted pyramid format. What this basically means is the first paragraph, the lead, is the broadest. It should encompass everything, the press release is about.
Right,
and
most general.
Is most general, most basic one, and in every paragraph down should step down in terms of getting more and more details and more granular points.
Right, and this is like looking at the headline and only reading that. So if you only read that, then you only get a little bit. But if you like the headline and you read the next paragraph, well, then you've got a little bit more. Can you get the reader to go all the way to the bottom?
Yeah.
Get them interested.
But the way the style was originally created, it was created for the old days in which newspapers were largely letters, and they still do it in print publications today. So that way, if I produce a 750-word article,
right,
and whoops daisy, they only have room for 500 words. Oh, we're bork. Well, what they'll do is they'll cut from the bottom because that's already the least important information. It's the most detailed.
Right.
You still gain 95% of the story if you have the paragraphs above that. And that's why it was done that way. It was to make it easy for editors to cut articles. But it also works in the age of the internet when people will stop reading articles at any fucking point they choose.
Yeah.
Make sense?
It makes total sense.
But now we're not testing the amount of space on the page. We're counting the amount of attention in the brain. Make sense?
It does.
So yeah, basically though, do that inverted pyramid so that your bottom paragraph should just be interesting details or minutia that, hey, if they include it, great. If they don't, doesn't really matter. But you want to make sure the meat is right there in the top paragraphs. The press release should end with with basically your contact information. For more information, contact your name, phone number, email address. You don't need to include a postal address these days.
Right. And that's different from an ad where you want to end with a call to action.
Yeah, the call to action and a press release is the contact our PR person, and get in touch with them to do an article. That's the call to action. It is. For more information, contact da-da-da-da-da-da. Put that out there. And it should also end with a blurb about your organization or your company. You know, Bernie Baxter is a home haunt based in Algiers, Louisiana. You know what I mean? Go like that. Just a little 1 to 2 sentence thing about your history and who you are as a company or organization and what you do. And that way, they will have, that's kind of like background. It's not really relevant to the actual press release you're sending, but it's background info that may be important to the article. Always, always, always include images the media can use. High quality, high resolution images.
Yes.
Please do that. If you can do video clips, so much the better. Because that'll really make the TV stations, because newspapers and websites and TV stations love nothing more than being lazy.
Yeah.
If you can do as much of their job for them as you can, you increase your chances of getting attention.
Yeah. Well, and the last year that we were open, so 2 years ago now, we actually had photographers and the camera crew come out individually and take their own photos.
Yep. But if you include those images and they don't want or aren't able to send a photographer out, they won't.
Right.
We've had our images used in newspapers before.
Yes.
We've had them come out and take photos of us before. It's fun. It's fine either way, but it's better to have it there and have them not need it than have them need it and then not be there.
Right.
So yeah. And basically you take all that information that I just said, that press release with a good headline, the 4 to 6 paragraphs, 250 to 500 words, send all that with your contact info and the blurb, send it to the contact on that list. Just do it as one-shot email. Now, one question that I sometimes get asked is, do you recommend a press release service? If you're a haunted attraction, no. Because haunted attractions are local, hyper-local entities. You're not getting many people outside of an hour away. We've had this conversation a lot of times. A press release company, a press firm like that is really great if you want to reach national and international audiences. They have much larger databases and media contacts than we ever could. But be honest, how many radio stations, TV stations, and newspapers are there? All total, you got maybe a dozen?
Yeah.
Maybe 16, somewhere in that range?
Yeah.
It's something you yourself can do in email without the help, and it will be better targeted. So if you were running a national campaign for some reason, absolutely get outside service to help. But as just a haunt wanting to do some press releases and get some media in your local area, there's not much point.
Yeah.
It's overkill. It's building a sandcastle with a steam shuttle. Nothing else. So yeah, send all that to the contacts on that list that you acquired in the first step. Now, when should you do this?
Exactly.
Timing is everything.
It really is.
We know, as haunters, we know this instinctively.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about when do you put out your flyers?
Yep.
You know, because you don't want to put it out so far in advance for customers picking it up that they lose it or they forget about you.
Yeah.
So that happens.
And the same is very true for press releases. Now, the first thing I would say is before you open for the season, I would send these out. Announce your dates, your themes, any changes you've made, any renovations you've done. Introduce the all-new laser swamp room or whatever. I don't know.
I know.
Pull that one out. But yeah, talk about any changes you've made. Basically, anything that's new or different. Remember, the key element of news is new. What is new? Focus on what is new, what is novel, what is fresh this year when you send those press releases out. And basically make the argument that your haunt opening is a big deal for the community, and the community should be aware of it.
Exactly.
If you convince a reporter that your haunt opening is a big deal and is important to the surrounding community, they'll cover it in the store.
Yeah.
It's really that easy. If you convince them you're important, they will cover you. I would also send press releases before any special events. If you have a flashlight night, a rainbow night, a discount night for veterans or for members of certain charity or whatever, definitely get out press releases before that to advertise those specific nights. And also before any community activity you do throughout the year. Did you participate in a parade? Why not send a press release? Get some top of mind awareness in whatever month that is. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Did you make a donation? Are you a charity haunt and you made your big donation, cut that big check to charity? Wouldn't it be great to have some media there to snap a photo of it and print you in the paper and put you on the website that's handing over this huge ass check to them?
Right. And this is different from contact with your customers, because while you want to remain at the forefront of their mind, the customers aren't really going to pay attention until September, October. But media is always looking for a story.
Yeah. And if you become known as a reliable place, a reliable source for good news coverage, they'll keep coming back to you.
Yeah.
And also, even though people may not notice that if you do that big donation, for example, they may not notice it that deep immediately, they'll still see it come across their feeds and like, oh yeah, that haunted house donates to whatever. And that when September comes around, they're paying attention, they'll have that little hook back in their brain. They'll have 2 brain cells committed to learning that fact.
Right. Well,
They'll
not only
light up when they hear your haunt name again.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but whenever they search for you in their area, you'll get all of these media articles about all the good you've been doing in the community.
Bingo. Good Google foo as well.
Yes.
So yes. Yeah, let the media know if you're doing anything in the community and doing anything supportive. We are an industry that really does do a great job of supporting and coming up big for our local communities. Get that media coverage for it. Also, it helps make our news episodes a lot easier.
Yes, it does.
The more you assholes would get news coverage for the donations you make to charity year round, I wouldn't be fucking scrambling in the spring to find stories for the news episodes. So help me out too.
Yeah. Yes, in fact, if you're sending out press releases, send them to Haunt Weekly at hauntweekly.com.
Yes. Use the contact form at hauntweekly.com, please. Now, when to send the press releases in relation to the events? Ideally, I tend to say send it 1 to 2 weeks before the day of, before opening day, for example. Now, we are a little weird because we're a home haunt and we're only open 3 days out of the year, the last weekend of October and Halloween night. So what we do typically is we send them out in early October or late September, somewhere in that range.
Right.
Because we're also trying to get in any special Halloween editions that are coming up.
Yes, and those come out in September, so we may even send something out at the very end of August, because there's a couple of local papers that do a full month, and they need it early.
Yeah. So you don't want to send it too early, but you also don't want to send it like the day of. It's not going to do you any good. So we're a little weird. Most haunts, if you run a full season, a week before opening day is probably about perfect for the initial press releases. However, be mindful of publications that have different schedules.
Yeah.
Like weeklies or monthly ones.
Right.
Like there are usually in towns all across America these free or low-cost monthly newspaper publications that are hyper community focused. These are great places for your haunt to be. They're really, really good because they don't have the largest readership, but they have a very dedicated readership, and that readership is obsessed with your community. It's really, really good to get in front of their eyes if you can. So basically, you may need to contact those types of publications 6 weeks out. What I typically tell people to do is, like I said, find out who has event calendars is a great place to start. And those are the places you contact initially about the event calendar and just trying to get in your dates in the event calendar, and then follow it up with a press release more timely if needed, so that way you can hopefully get bigger media attention from them.
Right.
It should be a lot of fun. Okay. Now, some tips for working with the media here. This is some important stuff here. Remember, time is of the utmost importance for media workers, especially today. Newsrooms are laying off people like crazy. Journalists that were doing once 3 articles a week are now being tasked with doing 2 a day. It's pure unfiltered madness in newsrooms all across the country right now. Time is of the essence. So don't waste their time with superfluous and unnecessary press releases. But also, if they do contact you, respond fast.
Yeah.
Give priority to emails from the media, but pretty much above all else. Remember how I said you should add the phone numbers for a lot of the local media outlets to your phone? This is why. This way you'll see, oh, look, it's the newspaper calling me. Hi.
Yeah.
And you can take that call right then, right there.
Exactly.
And if they do get your voicemail and they leave a voicemail, call them back the second you get it.
Yeah.
Prioritize this.
Yeah, this is how we wound up on the news, is because they called and said, hey, can we come out tomorrow? And we weren't finished building, but yes, you can come out tomorrow.
We'll have something to show you.
Yeah, we'll make sure to have at least something done, and
ready to go,
and we'll get some of our actors over, and you can take some pictures of us working and stuff, and
Basically,
please.
You're going to be on their schedule. Think of it like this. You're getting what is tantamount to free advertising.
Yes.
You're paying for that free advertising by working with them on their schedule. That is how you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Through that, at times, grotesque inconvenience.
Yeah.
It can be grotesquely inconvenient, don't get me wrong. But yeah, give priority to it. When you're being interviewed, when you're in front of the camera or whatnot, try to give short but complete answers. Don't ramble. And if you're someone that does tend to ramble, maybe you should appoint someone else to be the media on-camera person for this. But yeah, try to give short but complete answers, and think about how your talking points will be used as quotes or snippets. How what you say will be chopped up into short video segments or quoted in the article.
Yes. Write yourself a promo.
Yeah.
Write yourself a promo speech, practice it, know it. That way, if they say, can you give me a 30-second what you're about?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah, you should have an elevator pitch definitely handy, as it sometimes is called.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is one of the reasons why I think haunters really should at least be cognizant of what goes on in wrestling.
Yeah.
Because wrestling is where you see what a good promo does. What
a bad one can do.
Oh, Jesus. Cody. Cody.
Yeah.
Dig the hole, dig the hole.
Anyway.
But anyways, do ask for a link when it goes live. They'll usually do that anyway, but do ask, and the reason you ask for that is so you can put it out on your social media channels. You can amplify this. That helps them, because a lot of reporters, the metrics that they are judged by include how many visitors check out their articles.
Right.
You putting it out on your social media, you sending it to your friends and to your colleagues helps them, and it helps you. So ask for the link so when it goes live, it's not just great to say you can mount it on your wall like we did with a lot of it.
Yeah.
And also, this is so important, but so easily forgotten. Thank the reporter for the piece.
Yes. Definitely.
Thank them. Thank them generously. Thank them kindly. A short thank you letter, just a couple of sentences, goes a long freaking way. It really does.
Yeah.
Like, I know one of the reasons we have such great media contact with NOLA.com, and that is because I thank him every time he interviews us.
Yes. Yes. And when we had to do the closure after we had said we were opening and had been interviewed, we contacted all of the reporters.
Yep.
Well, Jonathan,
Yeah, I'm the PR guy.
He's the PR guy, so he contacted everybody, let them know, apologized profusely, thanked them for covering it the first time, and thanked them for the retraction of the opening.
See you in 2020, and then, oops.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, so we may have some work to do early this year.
Yeah, I think we're going to be busy this year with the press release. I'm more busy than usual. I don't know about rebuilding relationships, but
they were just put on pause. But we have no idea if the contacts
same people are there.
Exactly.
You know, I'm probably going to have to rebuild my list.
There's a lot changed.
Yeah. So, one idea. This came out at a HauntCon talk. I'm trying to remember whose talk it was. All the talks at HauntCon blend together at a certain point. It's my apologies to the original speaker, but they had a great idea. Consider holding a media night.
And we actually saw this happen at Scott Island.
Yes, we did. We did. Hold a media night. Invite members of the press to a behind-the-scenes tour, a special media-only event. Here's the thing. People in the press are people.
Yeah.
And you know what people like? They like feeling fucking special.
Uh-huh.
You make them feel fucking special, even if it's something as stupid as a behind-the-scenes tour or letting them put on a rubber mask and hang out in a dark hallway and scaring some people.
No.
They eat that up.
Yeah, if
People
they're
love feeling special.
yeah, if they're the only camera crew to come into your haunt and they get to film their reporter
Yeah.
like reacting to all the scares,
Yeah.
they love that.
They love feeling special. So putting on a media night just for the press or giving them members only access to this, to areas at least, is great. Yeah, like I said, consider giving them special access to you, your characters behind the scenes. Let them, if they want to, let a reporter scare act for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
You can put them in some out of the way scene.
You can just put them in a drop panel.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
talked about where to put inexperienced actors before. Put them behind a drop panel. Something easy.
Teach us some timing.
Yeah.
Timing is something you can't teach like someone else, but you can pick up and learn.
Right.
And that's where you're going to... Really, I think a drop panel is one of the best ways to learn timing, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know when you fucked up the timing on a drop panel. You know immediately when you fucked that up.
Yeah.
That's an easy fuck up to smell.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically though, and failing that, you can always give passes to the media, free passes to me, give a couple to each newspaper, each radio station, etc.
Right.
Invite their staff to come. Yeah, sometimes they may shuck them off on the intern and you just gave away 2 passes. You know what? Big deal.
Yeah.
It's,
The intern may come back
The intern may come
raving
back and
about
yeah.
how
May come
great
back
it was. And
yeah, okay, so what if it wasn't the reporter that he yeeted them to someone else? There?
Yeah.
If they come back in the office the next day telling me how awesome it was, you still might get media coverage of it.
yeah.
Kick some ass. But yeah, encourage them to come see your haunt, maybe report on it, and just know that a few cheap freebies and a few passes goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. Reporters are just like everyone else on this planet. They want to feel special. They want to feel important. This is a great way to make them feel that way and get you some good media coverage along the way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I hate to end things on kind of a downer. I
Yeah.
just realized I did that, and that's one
Yeah.
of the rules. But this one really isn't that big of a downer.
Right.
Let's be honest. I wanted to talk about an element of PR, spend a few minutes on an element of PR that doesn't get enough attention.
Right.
And that is how to handle bad news. Now, this
Mm-hmm.
isn't a huge problem for the haunt industry. We tend to get mostly fluff and, good feel-good pieces. And we know this because we read the news regularly.
Yeah. Well, and there is, there are some problem ones that we've seen,
Yeah.
but it
But say something bad happens.
Yeah.
Like a staff member gets arrested. We saw that happen.
we did.
Or there was a shooting at your haunt. God, we saw that happen so many times in 2020.
Why did that happen so many times?
I think pandemic-like people just forgot how to be fucking civilized human beings for a minute.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
It
don't
wasn't the purge.
It sure looked like in some of the videos we saw.
I know. Anyway,
But anyways,
something bad has happened.
yeah, it's not a huge problem with industry, but it is worth discussing. First and foremost, be available, be honest. Remember that mantra. Be available, be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Means the news media has access to you readily to talk about this and tell your side of it,
Mm-hmm.
and they can trust that you're going to tell the truth. Do not try to cover anything up. Because basically, the thing about bad news, and I'm running my notes, I know.
Yep.
But bad news blows over if it's handled well.
Yeah.
Like, by the end of the season, was anyone talking about the shooting at Airbus other than us?
No.
No, I mean, I was on top of news all through the October season there. No one was talking about it. In fact, they only now mention it, like, recently because the guy was arraigned, I think it was, or something like that.
Yeah, basically
Something
something
legal happened
moved
to him.
forward with the trial. Yeah.
They're moving forward with the trial. That's the only reason it's been in the news. Nothing about Airbus.
Right.
They handled it pretty well. They came through it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the best policy is one of oversharing. And in my PR class, they called this radical transparency.
No.
Basically, be honest about what happened. Take any fault and blame that is truly yours. Don't try to shirk it.
Right.
Take the fault, take the blame, apologize, explain the details,
Mm-hmm.
explain your side of the situation, discuss your plans for fixing the issue and doing better in the future,
Mm-hmm.
and then start to implement those plans and make sure that you implement those plans in a transparent way where the public can see it.
Right, exactly. So, a few years ago, I remember hearing all the stories about things happening in rooms that did not have security cameras. There was, blank spots in the coverage, and it's just like, so come on, say we're going to get more security cameras. We're going to beef that up so that we make sure everybody's safe and we can record everybody's interaction. And then put on your social media, hey, look, we just upgraded our security system.
Yeah.
Look at all these new cameras we've got.
In fact, you could, in that situation, if it's something like that where you want to show, you say, do a photo of all the security cameras you bought, like the pallet of them or whatever.
Exactly.
We just bought all these security cameras, we're mounting them today.
Exactly.
Mounting and wiring them today.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. And the idea is oversharing, because you want to make it so that you are a trustworthy source of information. You're not someone that's trying to hide stuff. You're not someone that's trying to duck responsibility. You're trying your damnedest to be honest and do better.
Yeah.
And to prevent this from happening again, and taking serious steps. Now, obviously, you're going to want to, depending on the exact situation involved, you may want to discuss this with a lawyer before doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But from a PR standpoint only, not a legal one, a PR standpoint only, it is better to share too much than to share too little during a time of crisis.
Right.
It's better to be too transparent. If there is a such thing as too transparent, it is better to be too transparent than not transparent enough. There was a great story that was shared in one of my PR classes about Jack in the Box. Mm-hmm. Jack in the Box, I think it was in the early 80s. I don't remember exactly when this happened. Had a problem where they accidentally sold a shitload of tainted meat. And people died.
Yeah.
From eating Jack in the Box, which honestly I just thought people died from eating Jack in the Box from eating the tacos.
Yeah.
But regardless, and the company did exactly what we described. They had the press person out there. They explained, okay, this is the farm we got it from. This is where the meat came from. We have recalled all that meat. We're actually in the process of recalling and revamping. We're shutting everything down. They went out there and they overshared everything that was going on and that they were doing to address the issue. This could have killed them.
Yeah.
This literally could have killed them. They ended up resuming their growth in just a year. Yeah. People literally died from eating Jack in the Box, and they were back to opening new locations and expanding their profile inside a year because of the way their press team handled it. Mm-hmm. That is how bad news should work. Yeah. It's not fun. No one wants to go through it. But if you do it right, it's a speed bump, not a brick wall. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And like I said, bad news blows over if you're honest and straightforward and if you implement strategies for doing better. However, if you aren't, it's just going to keep coming up and coming out. Yeah. You can only bury a bad story with truth. Mm-hmm. You can't bury it with lies. Yeah. It's just truth.
Yeah, because then, lies get found out sometimes. So.
Yeah, and that's just it. What's going to be worse? Telling the truth and being honest in the moment when people are already pissed off about the story. Yeah. Or lying about it, letting the heat die down, and then it get discovered later that you were lying, and people get pissed off a second time. Yeah. And now they're pissed off directly at you. Yeah, exactly. Previously, it might have just been something that happened around you. Exactly. Like I said, like the shooting at Erebus, that didn't really involve Erebus. No. It was an argument and line spilled over into the parking lot across the street. Erebus really didn't have anything to do with it. Yeah. But just imagine if they had tried to cover up something with it or hide it or whatnot, and it comes out that they did that, then it's going to be about Erebus directly. Exactly. That's just a good example of it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, be thinking about, that if you're dealing with bad news. Be available. Be honest. Share everything that you're doing. Basically, like I said, it's better to overshare than to undershare with this. Right. And if you've built up those relationships, because you hear things sometimes and you go, well, that can't possibly be true about that person. And then you go and find out whether or not it is. So, having that media relationship at the beginning will help in a situation that turns sour. Yeah. I agree completely. So, yeah, that is basically what I want to discuss with PR. Those are the ins and outs. Basically, though, be thinking, and I think now is the time to do it, honestly. May is an excellent opportunity. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know a lot of us are in our full swing haunt build, but take a little time, get your list in order, find out who your contacts are at all your major publications, mm-hmm. and start thinking about the press releases you're going to send, start thinking about holding a media night. Put all those plans into place now. When it comes September, it's just push button. And that's the way it is for us.
Yep.
It's pretty much push button.
Yeah.
I'll probably write the press release sometime over the summer. And when the time comes, it's just hit send on the email and watch it fly.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh, and one other tip I would say is in addition to sending press releases the traditional way, I would also be sure to apply for community calendars through any contact forms they have. Because a lot of times the community calendars will have specific forms you're supposed to fill out.
Right.
Do that because it makes things easier. Go ahead and send the press release separately, but do that too, because otherwise you may not appear in the calendar even if you send a press release.
Yeah, because
you
they're
want to be in those calendars.
Yeah, because there's probably a dedicated person checking that form responses. Like, I know that I check the one at work.
Yep.
You know, every week.
So yeah, basically, help that person out. And once again, it's all coming down to you are making their job as media people easier.
Mm-hmm.
They will reward you with free coverage.
Yeah.
That's the idea. That's the basic exchange here. You're helping them fill space, print a story, and in return, they're giving you some coverage.
Yeah.
And some feel-goodness.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea. Well, on that note, I don't think we got any responses to the question of the week.
No, not yet.
A bit of a heady one, honestly. I like it, though, because we had so many great PR wins over the years.
Yeah.
Well,
and I'm sure other people have too,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that they're just thinking of which one's the best.
Yes. Well, I mean...
And this could be for one that you've worked at too.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be yours like you own it. It's just what you consider yours.
Yeah, still the weirdest for me, though, was when we were on the cover of the Free Daily, with the free Tulsi paper.
Yeah.
That's back when I was running, before my stomach issues.
Yeah.
Me from running. And I went on my morning 5K.
Uh-huh.
And every fucking 5 feet, there's my face staring back at me on the ground.
Yeah. Well, and then all of our actors had gathered up all the ones in their neighborhoods and brought them to us too.
God.
So
I don't think there were any fucking free papers left in New Orleans. I think the reason that plan backfired was because we collected all the free fucking papers and didn't let anyone else read them.
exactly.
So, it'd be what it be.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for spending the past 50-ish minutes with us. Greatly appreciate your time. This has been Haunt Weekly, episode 285, talking about PR for haunters.
Mm-hmm.
You can find more Haunt Weekly at hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, youtube.com/Haunt Weekly is our YouTube channel. We're also on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, we're there. And you can find us every Sunday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Haunt Weekly. As we record these live, be a part of the show. Come see it as it happens. Watch all the things we screw up in real time. It's amusing. But until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we will see you all next week.